Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Jemima, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about types of aesthetic. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification button, share your family and friends, and let's get into this video. So the first thing I'm going to be doing is to be telling you the meaning of aesthetic. I wrote down a bunch of points on my Jstar and my iPad, and I'm just going to be telling you these points. So the first thing I'm going to tell you here is the meaning of aesthetic. Aesthetic can be defined or used to talk about beauty, art, and a person's appreciation for beautiful things. So when you say someone is aesthetic, it means this person is appreciative or responsive to or zealous about beautiful things in their own perspective or view. The first aesthetic I'm going to be talking about in this video is the indie aesthetic. This aesthetic is a broad aesthetic based on individuality. It has to do with your own independent choices, what you like, not what other people like, what you like. I'm going to be putting pictures of indie aesthetics on the screen so you can see. The name comes from the word independence. That means you have to make your own independent choices when it comes to this aesthetic. Like, you don't follow any other person's choices when it comes to like your dressing style, your music, your taste and everything. This aesthetic is just based on being being yourself. Words associated with this aesthetic are freedom, independence, philosophy, creativity, and uniqueness. An indie person feels comfortable in everything they wear. The next aesthetic I'm going to be talking about is the soft girl or soft boy aesthetic. This aesthetic mainly consists of soft pastel colors such as pastel pink, pastel green, pastel purple. Has to do with all these soft colors and not harsh, bold, prominent colors. This aesthetic has to do with cute and nostalgic prints of flowers, hearts, stuffed pillows, fluffy animals, and other soft cuddly items. Someone who has this type of aesthetic is usually soft, calm, and cute and adorable. They like wearing pastel colors and a lot of flower prints and just cute cuddly items. So the next aesthetic I'm going to be talking about, which is like everybody's favorite, is the Y2K aesthetic. This has to do with retro futuristic fashion trends that emerged during the late 1990s and early 2000s. It is characterized by bold colors, shiny materials, and unique textures. Everyone loves this aesthetic. You have to do with like low-waisted jeans, tank tops, just really 2000s fashion. This aesthetic is really nice, and like a lot of people like this aesthetic. Is futuristic and a feminine style of the mid-90s or late 1990s, and usually the early 2000s. And this aesthetic is just a really nice aesthetic. I'll be putting like all the pictures of the aesthetics I'm talking about so you can understand what I'm talking about and get the dressing style of the aesthetic in case you want to dress like this aesthetic or act like this aesthetic or incorporate this aesthetic style into your own life. So the next aesthetic I'm going to be talking about is the dark academia aesthetic. This is a subculture of the academia aesthetic because the academia aesthetic has two aesthetics. We have the light academia and the dark academia, but I'm going to be explaining the dark academia in this segment of the video. This is an internet aesthetic and a subculture concerned with higher education. Like this type of aesthetic like education, they like literature, they like reading, they like arts, and it's an idealized version of thereof. Like they love books, they love dressing academic, wearing ties, wearing like jackets. This fashion style is really nice, and whether you're going for light academic or dark academic, it's just a really nice academic to use if you really like academics in total. Like, people with this academic have passion for intelligence and education, literacy, poetry, academics, research, arts, etc. It's just a really nice aesthetic to follow if you're into all these types of things. If this is what you like, if this is what your passion, if this is what you have interest for, it's a really, I would advise you to follow this type of aesthetic if you like the dressing style and the lifestyle of an academic person. This aesthetic is called the fairycore aesthetic, also called the fairy folk. It's a fantasy themed aesthetic that centers predominantly around fairy and elf mythology. Like, if you really like the idea of the fairy wings, the dainty clothes, the fairy wings, the fairy aesthetic, you like, if you are an eco-friendly person, you are imaginative, creative, and you love visuals that include nature, soft pastels, butterflies, flowers, soft animals like bunnies, and spring, this aesthetic is definitely for you. If you lean towards all these types of interest, you would like this type of aesthetic. This next upcoming aesthetic is my favorite aesthetic. This is the aesthetic I lean towards to most of the time. This is like the design of my room, design of almost everything about my life. The coquette aesthetic. I love this aesthetic. It's literally this aesthetic is just literally everything about me. It has to do with pink bows, like gold jewelry, ballet flats, Mary Jane shoes, corsets, puff sleeves, and it's just a really lovely, nice aesthetic. Like, if you are the coquette aesthetic, like for me now, I'm the coquette aesthetic and I use a lot of bows. I have bows on my doors, I have bows on my wardrobe handles, I have bows on my bags, sometimes I even put bows on my hair, bows on my dresses. Like, I wear clothes like this that have a lot of pink because that is literally the aesthetic I lean towards to majority of the time. But it's not my only aesthetic. If you want to find my other aesthetic, stay tuned to the end of this video. As you can see, my room leans towards this aesthetic. I have a few bows somewhere, like in some places in my room. Sometimes I put bows in my mirrors, bows everywhere. This aesthetic is just a really nice aesthetic. It's a feminine, passionate, fragile, feminine spirit aesthetic that has to do with softness and not grunginess and edginess. This aesthetic is called the Sanrio aesthetic. It has to do with the company Sanrio that produces a lot of cute stuff, cute teddy bears, cute bags, cute stationery, a lot of cute stuff. Like, this aesthetic has to do with Sanrio, like in general. It has to do with a cute, innocent behavior, and the person like wearing white, pink, and soft pastel colors. Like, if you like characters like Hello Kitty, Kuromi, or My Melody, you are going to love this aesthetic because this is just the type of fashion that this aesthetic leans towards to, the type of interest this aesthetic leans towards to. The last aesthetic is the clean girl aesthetic. This aesthetic is my second aesthetic, which I told you to stay in tune for. And this aesthetic has gained a lot of popularity over the years. It started in the 2020s, and it has to do with a sleek, minimalist fashion look that is not too bold and not too shouty. It has to do with classic clothes, just a clean, fresh look, rather than looking all bold with colors and being dramatic. It has to do with minimalist and fresh approach to beauty and fashion while maintaining a polished and clean appearance. This aesthetic is just all about being polished and clean. The other names for this aesthetic is the minimalist girl, or fresh girl, or polished girl. So, like, if you like the clean girl aesthetic, you have to have a fresh, clean look. You can never be caught on fresh. You always have to look clean, neat, organized, and put together without being too dramatic about your fashion choices or about your life in general. Thank you all for watching to the end of this video. I know this video must have been interesting for you, and I hope you learned about the different types of aesthetics. I'm going to be posting regularly now. I post on Sundays and sometimes on Saturdays, but I just hope you have learned a lot from this video about the different types of aesthetics, and hope you know the one you lean towards too. I know choosing an aesthetic can be hard sometimes, but if you want, you can do some further research about the types of aesthetics, because there are a lot of aesthetics. There are over 100 aesthetics, but I think I just mentioned and explained a few in this video. Hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification button, share your family and friends, and I'll see you in the next video.